άμα είναι όπως είστε τώρα, ανέβα ένα επίπεδο πάνω. Ένα μέτρο από εκεί είναι ωραίο.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second day of the 2025 European Aquatics Junior Diving Championships. It's Paola Flaminio speaking, and get ready, I tell you, for a very busy afternoon of diving, because on schedule today we have 4 finals. We're going to start with the boys B 1 meter, for the girls B 3 meter event, and we will finish the day with the synchro boys A and B from the 10 meter platform. We are just waiting a few seconds for the athletes to be presented on the pool deck. And I can already tell you that the first competition will be boys B 1 meter. We will see 4 dives from each diver from 4 different diving groups. The 12 athletes who will compete this afternoon are the top 12 divers from this morning preliminary rounds. And I think we are ready to present the first athlete. No, I think it's going to take some more time. So this morning preliminary round was won by Dmitro Stepanov with 401.60 points. I remind you that all of the divers carry on the scores from their voluntary dives of the morning, so they won't start from scratch. The only dives they will perform again are their optional dives, so no degree of difficulty limits. None of the athletes have changed their dives for the final, so they're going to perform the same dives they performed this morning. We are going to see some difficult dives for these young divers. Remember, they're only 14 and 15 years old, so very young, but strong enough to perform very difficult dives. Later on this afternoon, we will see the girls beyond 3 meters. They will perform 3 dives from 3 different diving groups. And we will finish off with the synchro. Boys and girls will compete together, but the rankings will be separated. This morning we had very, very long prelims. Lots of athletes from all over Europe. So that's good. And we have lots of good quality now, good quality divers to see in the afternoon. Some of them we've already seen yesterday in the mixed team event, but now individual competitions are a bit different, especially mentally. A little bit of delay here. Okay, I think we're ready. So while we're waiting for the boys, I can tell you that last year this competition was won by German athlete with 403 points. Second was Maliev Valery with 391.90. And third was Forster Louis Aron, which we will see today in the final. He's the only athlete who won a medal last year who we're going to see today. Okay, now we're actually ready. The boys B are ready to be presented. As I said, the top 12 ranked divers from this morning are the ones competing in the finals this afternoon. There they are. First off board, Spiridon. Second will be Lorenzo from Italy. Peter Andras from Hungary will dive third. Vid Beganovic. Anton Tobert. He's been very good this morning. Just a little mistake on a 305C. Very difficult dive. If he fixes it, he will be there competing for a medal. Marco Valenti. He was on the top 5 before making a mistake of a reverse 1.5 pike. We'll see if he can fix that. Antoine Chevnin from Switzerland. Now, Lovro stand back. Simon Gregg from Great Britain. He's another athlete who did very good this morning. Now, Louis Aaron Foster, bronze medal from last year. Let's see if he can do better this year. Now, Egor Sobolev. He was second this morning and had the best voluntary dives, scoring 195.65. And now the winner of this morning's preliminary session, Dimitros Stepanov. He won this morning with 401.60 points. He has a very, very difficult dive list for such a young age. These boys are only 14 and 15 years old. Some of them already perform dives that older divers usually perform. So now the judges are being presented while the athletes have some time to get ready and warm up. We have 7 judges. There they are. Remember that scoring-wise, the judges will give their awards individually, and then the 2 lowest and the 2 highest scores will be cut off, and we'll keep the 3 middle scores. They will be summed up and multiplied by difficulty, and that will give the score of each single dive. As I said, boys are going to perform 4 optional dives from 4 different dive groups. No limits as of degree of difficulty. And there we are, ready with the first diver on the board. Yeah, the delay caused them to they thought they were gonna compete 15 minutes ago, so they're now warming up again because of the delay. They'll give them just a few minutes to warm up and jump on the boards. It's the last things before the competition starts. So as the boys warm up, I'll tell you later on, we'll see girls on the 3 meters, and we will end the day, actually the evening. The competition will be over quite late with the synchro from the platform for the boys and the girls from ages group A and B. So quite busy afternoon, lots of diving, lots of dives. So they're telling me there's some technical issues on deck. So they're giving some extra time for the boys to warm up. some technical problems with the computers. Okay, seems like we're ready. They finally solved technical problems on deck. So first up, Spiridon, back 1.5 somersault with 1.5 twist. Okay, good way to start off his final, the home athlete. He is not the strongest. He doesn't have the strongest push off the board, but the dive is good. 6s for him, 45 points. Now Lorenzo from Italy, inward 1.5 somersault pike. Good job for Lorenzo. When he goes into the pike position, his arms go on the side. They should go close to in front, close to one another, but still 6s for him, 43.20. There, now we see a better view of the dive. Good job for Lorenzo. Peter now. Same dive as the Italian, inward 1.5 somersault pike. He jumps more than the Italian for sure. Let's see what the judges think. 6.5 for him. Yes, a little bit better, and gives him 46.80 points. Good job. Missing was a very clean entry, but still, good job for him. Now Vid Beganovic, forward 2.5 somersault pike. Good hurdle for him, very fast in the rotation. Not the sharpest of the pike positions, but overall a good dive. 5s for him. Now Anton. Anton, an inward 1.5 somersault pike. Divers are comfortable starting with this dive because it's a standing dive and a forward rotation. Yeah. Job also for him, a nice and safe 1.5 inward somersault pike. 6 and 6.5 also for him. He jumps a little too far away from the ball, why he scores only 6s. Now Marco Valenti, front 2.5 somersault pike. Good job. He's very good in the air, very fast, spinning very fast. Good entry. Not the best of the hurdles. He scores 6, 6.5. That's good enough for 10. There, you see, very fast in the run. Good entry. Very good job for the Italian. Now Antoine, another 1.5 somersault inward pike. Very good job also for Antoine. The dive is very good. A nice takeoff, a good rotation, nice sharp pike position. 6.5 for him. Nice way to start his final. Now from Croatia, Lovro. Forward 2.5 somersault pike. Good job for Lovro. Very good takeoff, good rotation, nice pike position, good entry. This will give him a good score. Exactly the best dive we've seen so far. 53.30, and he lands in second place. Now from Great Britain, Simon Gregg. Same dive as Lovro. For sure, the judges will compare the two dives. He saves the dive. He made a little mistake on the hurdle and he stepped back. So he didn't get to the point of the board, and that causes the dive to be a little lower than what he expected. But he's very good keeping that pike position. And yes, 6 and 6.5 for him. Good job. Now, bronze medalist from last year, Louis Aaron Forster. He will perform an inward 1.5 somersault pike. He made a big mistake on a voluntary dive this morning. Actually, the mistake was on the hurdle. He was completely to the left of the board, and he scored only 2.5s and 3s on that dive. He will have to do some great optional dives to aim for a medal. Great job. The sharpest entry so far. Very high up in the air. Nice pike position. Very good job for Luis. 7.5 for him. 52.80. Lands in 5th place. Now Egor Sobolev. Same dive, also for him. Wow, even better than the German diver. His legs are super sharp. His feet are pointed. They're very beautiful dive. Up there in the rotation, in the entry, exactly. The highest score so far, the first 8 we've seen in the finals today. Now, the winner from this morning, Dmitro Stepanov. Same dive, also for him. Inward 1.5 somersault in a pike position. So lots of divers prefer starting with standing dives because hurdles can be tricky. Good job also for Dimitro. Awesome inward 1.5 pike. He jumps a little too far from the board. Overall, a very good dive. 7.5 for him, and he is in second place. Here's the rankings after the first round. Egor's in first place, then Dimitro, and third place for Marco. Looks like Egor is quite ahead, but it's only the first round. We still have 3 to go. Now, Spiridon. Inwards, 2.5 somersaults, tuck. This is a very hard dive for such a young diver. You need lots of strength, and you need to be very fast in the rotation to perform this dive. He does a very good job. Too bad for the splashy entry, He could have done a better job in the entry, but as I said, this dive is very difficult for such a young athlete. The degree of difficulty, 3.1. We'll give him a high score, exactly. Even if the single awards aren't that high, the total score is high because of the degree of difficulty. Now, Lorenzo, a back 1.5 somersault pike. First dive of the competition with a backwards rotation. It can be tricky because the athlete doesn't see where he's going, so he has to spot by looking for the water while he rotates. Very good job, especially in the entry for Lorenzo. He jumps too far from the board. Yes, his shoulders lean backwards too much, and that's why the dive ends so far from the board, but 6s for him. Good job. 41 points, point 40. Peter Andras now, a forward 2.5 somersault tuck. He took his time to start the dive, but the dive was awesome. The entry perfectly aligned, perfectly vertical, and he disappears under the water doing that extra somersault so that he doesn't get splashes. 7.5s for him, 52.80, and he jumps ahead. Now, beat inward 1.5 somersault pike. We've seen quite a few of these now. 2.4 degree of difficulty. Not the best inward 1.5 somersault pike we've seen today. The dive isn't that high up in the air, and he keeps the dive quite short in the entry. But for him, still okay, good enough, 36 points. Anton from Germany, forward 2.5 somersault pike. Good job. Not the best of the hurdles. Yeah, he lost a little bit of push from the board, and then she went a little bit past the vertical line, but overall nice and clean dive. 6s for him with a good degree of difficulty. Now on the board, Marco Valenti, back 1.5 somersault pike. Only 2.3 degree of difficulty. He will need high awards to get a good score on this dive. Oh no, big mistake for him. He done a good job this morning on this dive, but he pulls back with his shoulders from the beginning, and that causes the rotation to go too fast and too far away from the board, and he's unable to stop it, so the dive passes the vertical line. Only 3.5s for him. This will drop him back in the rankings. Antoine now, forward 2.5 somersault pike. Good job, a very nice hurdle. He went very up in the air, strong push from the board. Not the sharpest of the pike positions. We can see his legs are a bit bent, but the dive is vertical. It's good. 6.5s for him. Good job, Antoine. Lovro, forward 1.5 somersault with a double twist. 2.6 degree of difficulty. Good job on this dive. Very good. Not the best of the hurdles. We can hear the board making a bad noise, I'd say. He steps on the board too heavy, but the dive is good. 6.5 for him, 50.70 points, and he leads the rankings. Now, from Great Britain, Simeon Gregg, reverse 1.5 somersault pike. First reverse dive we're seeing today. The trickiest, I'd say, because there's a hurdle and a backwards rotation. He does an awesome job with this 1.5 reverse pike. Very, very up in the air, sharp pike position, nice entry. Good job, Simeon. Yes, 7s for him, 50.40 points. Good job. I like seeing these clean pike position and these clean entries. Lewis Aaron now, forward 2.5 somersault pike. Very good job, also Luis. These boys are diving very, very well this afternoon. Very good dive up in the air, very fast spinning, nice entry, 7s for him. He makes a little comeback. He's second in the rankings. He has to make up for that big mistake on his voluntary dive of the morning. Now Egor, same dive as Luis. Wow, Egor has some awesome entries. His toes are always pointed perfectly. He's perfectly vertical. We're gonna see some high scores now. Exactly, another 8 for him, 59.80 points, and he is still in first place. Let's see if Pedro can keep up the pace. He will perform the same dive. Curious how the first 3 ranked of the morning are for the same dives. He jumps. He's the highest off the board. He's the one that jumps the most. Very good. Even though he's not at the point of the springboard, he manages to push up towards the ceiling very well. Nice entry, 7.5 for him. And now we'll see the rankings halfway through. Egor still leading, followed by Dimitro, and Lovro is quite a distance between the first 3. Doesn't seem there's a big race. They're all quite apart one from the other, but let's move on. Forward 2.5 somersault pike for Spiridon. A mistake for him, for the home athlete. He's too forward with his shoulders, and this causes the dive not to go up, but to go too much forward, so he doesn't create enough space to get the dive vertical. That's why he only scores 4s. Now Lorenzo, reverse 1.5 somersault pike. Okay dive, not too good, but not that big of a mistake. The dive, he keeps the dive a little bit short. He doesn't get that perfect entry. 5.5 for him. Now Peter from Hungary. Backwards 1.5 somersault pike. good job. Not the fastest of the rotations, but the dive is clean, nice pike position, nice, the toes are well pointed. So overall, a good job, 5.5 for him. From Croatia now, Vid. A back 1.5 somersault pike, same dive that Peter just performed. Another mistake. I told you, back rotations are the trickiest. The divers don't see where they're going, so they have to spot by looking for the water, looking for the springboard, so they can come out at the correct time from the rotation. And beat isn't that perfectly this time. So now we have a big dive. Anton will perform a reverse 2.5 somersault tuck, a 3.0 degree of difficulty. He did a little mistake in the morning on this dive. Another mistake here. This is a really difficult dive. These divers, remember, are very young. They're only 14 and 15 years old. Yes, force for him. The dive is quite short. That's why the scores aren't that high. Now, Marco from Italy, he made a big mistake on the previous round. Let's see if he can come back. Very good job. He comes back in a very good way. He has a strong takeoff, good rotation, and what an entry. He disappears under the water. Yes, he was just only 6.5 because he was just too far away from, a little too far from the board and didn't have the sharpest of the pike position. Over job for him. Antoine now, back 1.5 somersault tuck. I'd say this is the easiest dive of the competition, only 2.0 degree of difficulty. But awesomely done, very good. Very nice tuck position, very tight in his tuck position. Nice come out from the rotation and nice entry. 7s for him, 42 points, and he jumps ahead. Lovro now, inward 1.5 somersault pike. Good job for Lovro. Doesn't have the best of the takeoffs from the board, and he doesn't create enough space to complete the rotation, and the dive ends up being short. But 6s for him, still a good job. Now Simeon, a forward 1.5 somersault with 2 twists. This was the only mistake he made this morning. He scored, not perfect, I'd say, because he scored only 5.5s. He does much better this afternoon. He's diving very good, very clean in the twisting position, very clean entry, just a little too far from the board, but 7s for him, 54.60. He takes the lead and puts himself in a very good position before the last round of dives. Now, Luis Aron, reverse 2.5 somersault tuck. This is a very important dive, 3.0 degree of difficulty. Good job, Luis. Very fast in the rotation. He spins super fast. Look at the replay. The replay is in slow motion. It looks like he's spinning live. Even though the rotation is very fast, he doesn't keep his core tight in the entry, and the leg past the vertical, 6.5 on this dive. Very good for such a young diver. Now, Egor, the leader of the rankings. Same dive. Amazing. This diver is very, very talented. He jumps up in the air very well. He rotates very fast. And then his entries are always so clean. 7.5 and 8 for him, 69 points. And he takes it. Wow. Very, very good job from Egor. Now Dmitro, same dive. Oh no, big mistake on the hurdle. So when a diver stops on the hurdle, he can start over, but all of the judges will take 2 points off their award. Big penalty here. Dive is not the best one. He's quite far from the board and short. Too bad. It could have been a nice battle for gold, but with this mistake, he will risk the medal. Not only the... Yes, exactly. He's fifth now. He's in 5th place. I told you, we can't see the rankings. The competition isn't done until it's over. So now Egor is alone, leading the rankings, 50 ahead of 2nd place, Luis Aron. And in 3rd, we have Simeon from Great Britain. Wow, what a round. Too bad for that mistake on the reverse 2.5 somersault for Dmitro. Now, Spiridon, he starts the last round of dives for this competition. 1.5 somersault pike. He jumps too far away from the board, and his entry is not perfect. He lifts a lot of splashes, but after all, the dive is vertical. 5.5 for him. He concludes his competition at 331.80. Now, Lorenzo, forward 2.5 somersaults in attack position. Not the best of the dives. He jumps quite on the side towards the camera. He's also a little bit twisted in the entry. Yes, 5s for him. 314.35. That's his score of his final. Now, Peter Andras from Hungary. A reverse 1.5 somersault in attack position. Good job. Very easy dive. Clean. Nice entry. Vertical. Good way to finish his competition. 6.5 and 7 for him. And he closes his competition at 49.20 points. Now, on the board, Vid from Croatia, a reverse 1.5 somersault pike. 2.4 degree of difficulty. A little mistake also on his last dive. He doesn't spin very fast. His rotation is quite slow, and the dive ends up being short. Fives for him. He closes at 370. Now Anton. Back 1.5 somersault with 1.5 twist. 2.5 degree of difficulty. Good job, nice entry. He pushes, he jumps too far away from the board. That will penalize him. Yes, sixes for him. 45 points, closes the competition at 347.10. Good job for Anton. Now Marco from Italy. He'll finish his competition with an inward 1.5 somersault pike. Good job on his last dive. Very fast in the rotation. Nice and sharp pike position. He could have done a better entry. He lives to a little bit too many splashes, but 6.5s for him. 346.40. Good job, Marco, for that back 1.5. Now, from Switzerland, Antoine, a reverse 2.5 somersault tuck. 3.0 degree of difficulty. He finishes his competition with his hardest dive. I said this is a very, very hard dive. You need a lot of strength to jump off the board, a very fast rotation, and these athletes are very, very young, and it's very hard for them. But good job even for competing this dive, and 3.5s for him. Now, Lovro, same dive. It's nice to see how many young divers are performing this 2.5 reverse tuck, attempting these difficult dives. Good job, boys. Good job. He had a strong take. Not the fastest rotation while spin. He manages to keep the dive vertical, but he's not very clean, so that's why only 5.5s for him. But he closes at 372.95. That's a great score. Good job, Lovro. And now Simeon, he was third before the last round. His last dive will be an inward 1.5 somersault pike, a 2.4 degree of difficulty. Very good job on his final dive. Only mistake, he jumps too far away from the board, but the dive is high, it's clean, nice entry, vertical, 7.5s for him. He's second because Ego already leading the competition and he still has to dive. Now, Luis Aron, a reverse 1.5 somersault with 1.5 twist. He was second before the last. Good job. I think he secures his medal with this dive. Not the best of the hurdles. His shoulders were a little bit too forward, but he manages to make the dive and have a good entry. So 7s for him, and he leads the rankings. Now, Egor with the back 1.5 somersaults with 1.5 twists. He only needs 3 points to be ahead of Luis. And here we have the winner of today's final. Very good job, Egor. Another awesome dive. Really, really amazing diving from him today. 7s for him. This worst dive. And he scores 432.15 points. Very high scoring. Very good. Now, last dive of Dimitro. A very hard dive. The hardest dive we're going to see today from the boys B 1 meter. 3.2 degree of difficulty. Forward 2.5 somersault with 1 twist. Another bad hurdle for him. He steps back quite a bit, but he is very good to do the dive anyways and land on his head. 6s for him. To that big mistake on the hurdle the previous round. If not, we would have seen him on the podium. But that's how's diving. So now see the rankings on screen. We can see the girls B warming up on the 3 meters for their final. There we have the rankings. Egor Sobolev, 432.15 points with an amazing competition by Louis Aaron Forster, who was bronze last year and now. And 3rd place for Great Britain, Simeon Greig. Good job, boys. We're going to see their victory ceremonies tomorrow because of the big delay for the technical problems earlier. So, good job, boys. Let's give some time for the girls to warm up on the 3 meters, and I will be back as soon as the girls will be presented on deck.
Yeah.